Okay, the question is on complaints from customers to the NCAA. What are the most frequent complaints you get from them?
As I mentioned earlier, they are mainly coming from either delayed baggage or loss of baggage. Of course, we have cases of delays, and that's why I said delays sometimes are normal in any transport, especially aviation, because certain delays are attributed to things that are beyond human making, like issue of weather, or sometimes when an airport is closed as a result of weather or any other operational or technical reasons.
What about the abnormal ones, which are almost like on a daily basis? Every day, every time, you get delays from the airline operator?
Yeah, well, sometimes you look at it from this point of view. If an aircraft is scheduled to do a series of flights, if one flight is affected, is delayed, for one of the reasons I mentioned earlier, is almost certain that it's going to affect the other flights that are tied to that particular aircraft.
Doesn't the customer deserve the right to know why such delays occur?
Oh, most certainly, yes. Announcements are normally made, and new times are normally given. And as I said, based on the provisions of the Bill of Rights, customers are entitled to certain things. And
I don't know if you're aware that such announcements don't come with reasons why such delays occur.
Well, sometimes the reasons are so wide. Sometimes you hear due to operational reasons. And operational reasons are quite many. Sometimes may even be because of some kind of movement. So it's not every single reason that you'll be given. You either hear due to late inbound, that is maybe the aircraft that is designed or designated to operate a particular flight is late coming in, or sometimes we hear because of weather, or they will just say operational reasons instead of giving specific.
We quite understand you. The thing here is that the frequency with which you get this, because if you take a trip to any of our airports as we speak, you get to hear 1, 2, 3 in different airports in the country due to operational reasons. The frequency is something that bothers air travelers. So they're asking, why is it that ours is quite different and much more frequent?
Well, if you look at it, most of those airlines that do those kind of delays, as I said, some of those are beyond human capability. I mean, there are things that there's nothing anybody can do, such delays and so on. Yes, sometimes they may be frequent, but we are looking at those, and I'm sure within the last few months you will see that there are some improvements on those.
Do they get sanctioned because
what they need to do, and the customers will also insist. But then they should insist using civil means of asking for their rights, not to go and take the law into their own hand, because we had situations where passengers became unruly because they were asking for their right. If somebody has to ask for his right, he should ask for it through the legal and legal way. We've had some of our staff manhandled at airports. So I'd like to use this opportunity also to appeal to customers to ask for their rights, and then we will fight for their rights, but then they should do it through the normal way.
Captain, one of the areas, one of the times the Nigerians really look forward to seeing the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority more in action was a time when there was a scarcity of aviation fuel. Can you tell us what role the NCAA was playing as at that time to ensure that safety wasn't compromised?
Well, as I said earlier, aviation is one of the most regulated industry in the world. The operator knows what he needs to do to operate the various minimum. Nobody is going to fly with less than the required fuel. As such, some of those delays that you mentioned earlier were attributed to such shortages. Our role is to ensure that if an aircraft is going to operate, it's going to operate safely to go from A to B without any hitch. The availability of fuel is beyond the scope of the NCAA. Ours is regulatory. Of course, will give inputs to improve aviation industry in Nigeria.
Who could people have complained to? Because quite a number of Nigerians felt shortchanged, that some of the aviation operators knew that there was, some problems with operating their aircraft, and yet sold tickets to people. When they were at the airports, they were delayed unnecessarily, sometimes for as long as 18 hours at the airport. That is, if eventually they do get to fly. And then people were wondering, who are those in charge? Who ought to have taken responsibility for this?
Well, the thing is that I don't believe we have any irresponsible operator that will, knowing fully well that it's not going to go, will sell tickets to anybody, because everybody has a name to protect. So I don't think it's deliberate. As I said, sometimes these delays are not are beyond what is doable, and in aviation you have to be proactive. You plan ahead. It's not when you want to go that you start selling tickets. It's based on so many things that are scientific, like even if they say weather in one place is not exactly good at that time, but based on trends, you'll be able to have an idea when it's going to, based on forecast. So you start selling ahead of time. But of course, it's a forecast. Sometimes you don't get it 100%. Things like that do happen. You sell ticket in anticipation that is going to get better. The most important thing is that the customer must be kept informed of the progress.
Well, we were told some time ago that the passenger bill of rights was going to be pasted at the airport, such that when passengers go there, they could just easily take a look at them. But we've checked, we haven't seen it. Perhaps could you tell us which airports can we find those passenger bill of rights pasted there for passengers to see when they get in there?
As I mentioned earlier, NC is visible at all the airports in Nigeria. And if you go to a customer service desk at the airports, especially the major ones, you will find customer officers and the bill of rights are there to see.
No, they didn't say it was going to be there. They said they were going to paste it there for us to see when we get there, so that we can familiarize ourselves with it. Because, I mean, the people are rushing to catch their flights and leaving that and going to the desk, and the desk not in full public glare. I could be wrong, but they didn't tell us it was going to be on the desk. They said they were going to paste it so that when you go there, you will see. The same way the airlines let you know that, look, if you don't show up, these are the kind of things you will face, but no one ever tells you your own rights in terms of what you can demand of the airlines.
Well, as far as I know, if you go to, I'll give an example with the Terminal 2 in Lagos. If you go to the arrival, as soon as you enter the arrival terminal, you will see consumer protection desk, and it's available there. And also, if you go upstairs to the departure, also you will also find office. So at least I can give you those examples, and a number of the airports in Nigeria also have similar thing.
How do your men operate? Because there have been recent cases where airlines reschedule their flights, and in some cases they cancel the flights. The passengers don't get a refund of their monies. They keep going, trying. Do you wait until they complain to you before you act?
Well, naturally, if they don't complain, if they have an issue, if they don't complain, we are not supposed to know what has happened. It's only when they are not able to get the complaint to us. And if they have such complaints, they should come in good time for us to be able to resolve. As I said, we have our desks at all the airports in Nigeria. As soon as they have issues with airlines, they should come up and lodge their complaints, so that the complaints will be resolved immediately. It is only when we have such complaints that we can act.
You know, this can be really, really simple if the operators do what they should do, become more civil towards the customers, speak to them and let them in on what exactly is happening, and better address situation before it goes out of hand, if you talk about they asking in a more civil way. Do you think that the operators have been fair enough towards the customers, and has NCA also been addressing the complaints of customers pretty fast and efficiently?
Yeah, as far as the NCA is concerned, yes, we have been handling the passenger complaints efficiently. As I said, we even had recommendation letters on the way we've handled and resolved some of those complaints. But having said that, NCA has even gone proactive, organized training for customer service officers of operators in conjunction with our own consumer protection directorate, just to ensure that everybody is on the same page. The customers are actually properly protected, and their rights are given to them. But as I said, there's always room for improvement, and we're looking at ways to see that a situation where complaints don't even arise in the first place.
Has anything ever been, what kind of measures has the NCA applied to any airline that has flouted the Passenger Bill of Rights? Or has any airline not flouted it ever since it was published?
Well, so far we have not gotten a complaint to that level where we had to enforce a sanction. We ensured, because that's why we are physically present at the airport, so that it doesn't have to get to that situation where we have to use the big stick. But if we have to use it, certainly we will use it.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. Captain Mukhtar Omar is the DG, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be back after the break. Don't go away.